we just wanted to do a quick video on our dogs, how we feed our dogs. So we became vegan in October of 2015, and around that time we were looking into, because we were really into like the ethical reasons behind not eating, and I think at that time it was more ethical than health related. We still believe in the ethical reasons of not eating animals, but we also, see it as more of a health benefit of us not eating animals and their byproducts. So of course we didn't want to feed our pets other animals because we were killing them in the process in order to feed our animals. So we looked into feeding them a vegan diet, and at first, we were feeding them like the grains, the beans for the protein, lots of vegetables, and then that was pretty much it, like in the beginning. And I noticed that, not right away, but they started losing weight, and we had two smaller dogs at the time and then one bigger one, and the bigger one didn't seem to be affected at all by it, but the two smaller ones, I could slowly see them. They were losing weight, they were acting completely different.
Their digestive system wasn't functioning like our bigger dog either. There's our dog. They weren't having normal bowel movements like our bigger dog was. She could push anything that we fed her out. Our smaller ones could not.
Right. So yeah, that was a major thing, was we noticed that they could not go to the bathroom. The smaller ones could not. They just didn't have energy. Our one small dog is crazy usually and barks at everything, and he was barely barking at anything. He was just laying there. He was very lethargic. So I started changing things around because I'm home with them. So I was looking very much into it, keeping them off of a meat-based diet, and I was looking into other things that we could add to it to try and help. So we were adding lots of oils for fats, and just supplementing things in it, and it still wasn't, they still did not look good to me, and they were really, really thin. So then our the littlest one, she got really sick, and she ended up passing away, and we believe that it was very much due to her diet. And right after that happened, we changed it, and at first we added, we were just giving them chicken, and I was cooking it, and I was cooking vegetables, and we noticed right away. I mean, they were acting completely different. The two were acting completely different. He had, he had more energy. He was back to barking a lot, and he didn't look like he was gaining weight, but he just was acting completely different. And one other thing that was happening when they were eating that diet, a plant-based diet, was they were losing a lot of hair, I noticed. And even
which didn't happen until the very end.
Yeah, that happened just maybe 2 to 3 weeks before we decided to reintroduce meat into their diet. And the hair, I noticed our bigger one was also losing hair. So, and she was also getting thin too, towards the end as well. So we started adding chicken and cooked vegetables, and then we started looking into what the optimal diet for them would be, which would be a raw diet, raw meat. So they only were on a cooked meat and vegetable diet for 2 to 3 weeks until we decided to put them right on a raw food diet, which they are so healthy now, being on a raw meat, and then we also do some raw vegetables in in it as well. We make it ourselves. But they are completely different. They have tons of energy. They gained all of their weight back, and then they just act completely different.
Yeah, I mean, they turned back into the dogs that we had when we first got them. It was a big change. Our bigger one, who was really a medium-sized dog, she didn't lose nearly as the energy and
The weight.
and as much weight. And we take her on hikes and stuff, and she was still able to go on hikes and stuff. It really seemed to affect these smaller dogs a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were looking into it, mostly everything was about people feeding big dogs a vegan diet. And when we're told dogs are carnivores for the most part, but when you really look into it, they're really considered omnivores from what I've researched. But after going through this, I think it's sort of a blend of both, because they can definitely live without the meat for at least a decent period of time, but it's not nearly optimal for them not to have the meat. But they definitely love to eat other things besides just meat, though.
Right. And it was kind of hard. I definitely don't like feeding them meat, and like I'm the one that has to like mix it, and I just don't believe in that, and killing another animal to feed my pet. But we are doing, we got them in our care before we came into being vegan and everything like that, because I probably wouldn't have gotten pets, even any pets at all, knowing what I know now. But we both do what we feel is optimal for us and what we feel is optimal for our children. And we only feel that because we have the dogs, they're in our care, which we have made that decision. We have chosen to do that. So we only think it's fair to feed them what's optimal for them. And they were just getting sick on a vegan diet, and it wasn't fair to them just because, because our ethical beliefs changed to feed them a certain way. We still believe that we should feed them what's most optimal for them, and they are thriving. So.
Yep. And the mixture that we feed them is we live in Phoenix, and there's actually a place here that sells raw dog food for a really good price called Susie's Delights. And most places where they specifically sell raw dog food is very, very expensive, and a lot of it's not even antibiotic free or organic, which where we get it, it's at least antibiotic and hormone free. And we just get raw meat, and then we mix or put our own vegetables in the food processor, which we just get a different blend of vegetables all the time, because dogs, they eat the whole plant. They're not like us, to where we should really only be eating the lettuce if we're going to be eating vegetables. We don't digest the rest of it that great. They eat the whole plant no problem and digest it all. And we put about 75% meat to about 25% vegetables. And we feed them 2 times a day, and that's all they get throughout the day usually. We don't give them too many treats throughout the day, but sometimes. I think, is there anything else?
No, just with the plant-based one. When we were doing like the vegan diet, when I was trying to feed them differently to try and make them better, I was we think that the bigger one was doing okay, because I was able to give her larger amounts and she was able to digest it and pass it through. And then the smaller ones, I was even breaking down their meals, because usually we're feeding them 2 times a day. So I was trying to give them larger amounts, both 2 times a day. And the smallest one, she couldn't even finish it because her stomach was getting so bloated from the beans, and
we even changed it to where they were only eating the beans and the rice in one meal and the vegetables separate, because they don't digest good together for them.
Right. So we were trying lots of different things before we came to the decision to feed them meat. So We did try, but we have just found that it's definitely not nearly as optimal to feed them a vegan diet than it is to feed them a meat-based diet.
Mm-hmm. And also to add to what we put in their dog food, we do put a mixture of herbs in it that is good for them and for different things, and some coconut butter we use, which coconut would also work as well for just some extra fat for them, which they love.
Yep. That's it.
That's it. Have a good night. Have a good day.